Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Super Game Brothers podcast, a weekly podcast all about board games and video games and two brothers who play them basically every single day.
Pretty much.
I think I play a video game at least every day, and a board game is a little trickier sometimes to plan and get someone to play with you, but almost
Absolutely.
every day.
I'm impressed that you, as a dad of 3, almost 4, and other hobbies like golf and a full-time job, have any time.
Oh, I don't.
Games.
No time. You know, you just shove it in and then forget to brush your teeth some days, and it works.
Oh, heck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. It is crazy. It's busy, but hey, that's what you got to do for the hobbies you enjoy. You got to dedicate a little time to them, I think. My name's David. I didn't say that at the top, but my name's David.
Hi.
This is our 56th week in a row doing this show, so a little more than a year, and it's fun. And Devin, you're here every week. You're Devin.
I am Devin, yes. And speaking of toothbrushing.
Oh, boy.
How was Easter?
Easter was good. We went and saw family. Came up and saw you and our parents for a little bit on the way back from a different family event. Kind of a tricky part, having, wife's family and your own family, balancing holidays. And we had an important thing to be up at. Different family, so yeah, but it was good. Popped in somewhere else, and Easter was good. Kids loved it, had fun, no complaints.
Yeah, I woke up and surprisingly the bunny had hidden candy, and I was like, oh, this takes me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring up toothbrushing is the Easter bunny also left me he must have heard me talking, and he left me a natural toothpaste.
Wow.
That is a powder. Very interesting. It has
Charcoal?
hydroxyapatite in it and xylitol.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's got other stuff in it, but it's this gray powder.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you apply it to your toothbrush is you wet your toothbrush. I have an electronic toothbrush, so I wet it, and then I buzz all the water off, and you dab it in the powder.
Okay.
And then you just go ham. And I just ate a whole meal, so you can't tell right now, but I swear to you, in 3 days, these teeth be looking better.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. And
is it supposed to, whiten as well?
Yeah, and it's supposed to, almost re-enamel your teeth or something, regen some stuff. So I might grow extra teeth.
You're going to come next week with a second row.
Like a shark.
Just chewing on a log.
Yeah. No, but that was interesting.
Wow.
So I've been trying natural toothpaste. I'm liking it. Cool. There was also a natural deodorant that is not antiperspirant.
Native?
Something like that.
Yeah, we don't use antiperspirant here either.
I don't think that you need it. All the antiperspirant does for me is build these little bundles and clumps of hair that's impossible to wash out.
Yeah, because it's all aluminum based. So you're putting metal in your armpit.
Yeah, so I'm trying that too. I'm feeling natural right now.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah,
I'm feeling good. I think it's working for sure.
I think it's working for sure. Teeth are white, armpits are white.
Yep, feeling good.
Cool. Well, you had a productive Easter then with all this. Easter Bunny went a little granola on you.
You did, yeah. He's hooking me up with the strats.
Awesome. Well, Devin, I don't know that I have a bunch of new that happened this week. It's just been a really busy week with Easter, busy at work. You've been really busy with stream stuff, and I don't know, anything new on your end?
No, I've continued our marathon a little bit of Marvel movies. We've got through Endgame.
Right.
We are currently on Eternals. It's one that's pretty not well known that I don't think reviewed that well also.
I don't think it did.
But it's interesting. Currently watching that. No, nothing else is new. Just same old. It's crazy how fast these weeks go by.
Mm-hmm.
You're just to a new one.
Yeah.
And you realize how boring you are when you start the podcast and there's nothing new to talk about. I drank a soda today and I don't do that. So that's cool.
Yeah. You're hardcore.
I am hardcore.
Well, yeah, I don't have a lot either. So jumping into Super Movie Brothers, I guess just a little administrative note here. We're going to end this episode by just talking maybe for 15 or 20 minutes kind of about our thoughts on the first 2 episodes of HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. It's probably a good point to do it since where there was pretty substantial stuff that happened, especially in the second episode. So we're going to do that. We're going to leave it kind of in the podcast episode this week as kind of like a little teaser, a little hint of what they'll hopefully be like. And I'll also cut it out as a separate video. But then I think the other video segments for like episodes 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 for this season, we'll have on our Patreon. So just a little plug to that at patreon.com/supergamebrothers. You can get some perks here. You get the podcast episodes early. You'll get extra episodes like the conversations about The Last of Us. You'll also notice if you're scrolling around in there, we have a few new perks on our $3 tier, which will basically let you vote for a lot more stuff. We're still like kind of finalizing exactly how we're going to build it, but just so you'll know, you'll be able to like vote for some of the games that Devin plays on Twitch each month. I think he'll do at least one of those polls at least a month, maybe 2. Who knows?
And yeah, depends even up to 4.
Yeah, if he needs a game every week. Yeah. You'll be able to vote for the next board games that I cover on my board game channel, Gaming Top Down. And then the perks that were already there, where you can write into the podcast with questions and comments. So we're just kind of adding more features to that $3 tier. So now, if you subscribe at that tier or higher, you have more perks.
Love perks.
Love free perks added to a subscription. So anyways, that's how we keep the lights on, is patreon.com/supergamebrothers. Please check us out over there. And especially if you watch Devin stream or my board game channel and want to vote on some of the stuff we do over there. Just wanted to highlight that. Second highlight, we do have a giveaway going on for the next couple of months on our website, supergamebrothers.com, where you can win a board game bundle. Some really good games, mostly like kind of entry level, but Orichalcum is like, and even Hero, I would say, are slightly a step above like entry level. So good bunch of games. I would choose that if it were me over the gift card, but if you instead wanted a gaming gift card on Steam or Amazon or something, you can have that as well. Or in not as well, in place of. So anyways, check that out as well at supergamebrothers.com. All right, Devin, there's not a lot of news this week, and we didn't have a very eventful week, so we're just gonna hop in. This might be a shorter episode than normal, but let's plow through our normal kind of, what do we call these, segments of the show really quick, and then we'll talk about The Last of Us, and then we'll get out of here. So first up, we always talk about new games to subscription services, and starting here with Board Game Arena, which is an awesome website that lets you play board games for free. Some of the games you have to be a premium member to start a table with that game, but you can always join a table for free. And they have a few new games every month, or every week, excuse me. And they have like 1,000 or more on here, so there's tons of games. This one, Rats of Wistar, is a pretty popular game, I think, in 2023. Yeah, and designed by Simone Luciani, who's, man, he's very, very famous designer, and with, I'm not pronouncing this right, I'm sure, Danilo Sabia, who I think has co-designed some of the games with them. It's kind of a medium weight worker placement game, if I remember correctly. It's supposed to be pretty dang good, so I'm excited to check that one out on there. And then Garden Rush is the next one. Skillfully plant veggies in your garden and harvest them in specific patterns. I haven't heard of that one before, to be honest, but sounds like a pretty simple little little simple game there from Space Cowboys, so check that one out too. And I guess they had a Easter egg hunt as well for Easter.
Oh, fun.
But it's a dragon egg hunt on Board Game Arena. So that's kind of fun. That's probably already passed, so I don't know why I'm even talking about it. And we talked about leaders last week, so those are the 2 new games for this week.
And then we have a little from Nintendo.
Yeah, quick little update to Nintendo Switch Online. I think they have 2 games this week. This one, if you have the expansion pass, they have a new Game Boy Advance game. This is Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones. I really love like the Game Boy Advance aesthetic, but I haven't played a Fire Emblem game before. Mostly because I'm just not really into that like turn-based or tactical combat style of games. At least very rarely. We'll talk a little bit more about those later in the episode, but so yeah, if you like Fire Emblem, check that one out. And then one more game as well, which I don't think is on the expansion pass. It's just for regular Nintendo Switch online. And for some reason, it doesn't want to come over to us, maybe, or maybe I forgot to put it in there. Oh yeah, it's The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Seasons, and I don't think there's even a image on this link that I'm going to pull up. But if you want to play that Zelda game, pretty old one, but hey, some of the old Zelda games are excellent, then check that one out as well. So 2 new games on Nintendo Switch online, and then there is one game on the Epic Game Store, and like a doofus, I did accidentally close that link. So let me go back to the Epic Game Store here really quick, and we will pull it up. Devin, I'm curious if you've ever heard of this game called Choochel.
Absolutely not.
You want to read that little blurb about Choochel?
Choochel is a comedy adventure game from the creators of Machinarium, Botanicula, and Samarost. Join the hairy hero Choochel and his rival Keckle as they will be facing numerous puzzles and challenges in their quest to retrieve the precious cherry.
The precious cherry. Gotta get it.
I've been trying to get it.
Yeah. I really like Machinarium, and Botanicula was the free game last week, so it's kind of cool. They're just kind of continuing that.
Yeah, that is.
Series from that developer. So I will definitely be adding that to my collection. Make sure you do as well. I think that's all.
Yeah, it takes us right to what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Which has been just a few games, but we're going to touch them.
Yeah. We've talked about this first one a bunch. I even named the episode after this game last week. Good Night, Sweet Blueprints.
Amazing.
Yeah. And what did I do? I accidentally clicked something. Been playing a ton of Blueprints, and man, I love it more and more the more I play. I got into the antechamber, got into the basement, without like doing too many spoilers and stuff, like secret gardens and changing water pumps all over the place. I'm getting close to at least the first ending, I imagine. Really fun. Man, I love that game. So good. It's brutally hard.
Oh man.
Especially if you don't look anything up. Like if you're really struggling, like I don't think you should feel bad if you do look something up. Because it is tricky. In one of the rooms, for example, the drawing room, you had to solve this big puzzle with letters for each room to like spell out this sequence of words that made a sentence. And then in other room, you had to count a number of pictures from that sentence based on like some differentiator the paintings had. And using those counts of the paintings, you had to come up with a 4-digit code for a safe. And man, I sat in that room for a long time with my wife, and we were like, swear we were counting it correctly. And I could not get the numbers like in the right order. We tried so many variations. And so eventually she did have to look it up, and we were just thinking about it wrong. I was thinking about the total number on each wall when it was actually the total number split by the gender of the people in the paintings. And I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I would have got there. That's like I was 95% there, but that last 5% was tricky. So there's a bit of that where like puzzles cascade on each other.
Right. I was shocked by this. I beat the game in the most simple sense. Which is crazy because I feel like I got so few trophies by doing so.
Yeah, I still don't have a trophy in the game.
Yes. And there's probably like 15 or something.
Yeah.
But we beat it one way, and then I felt like we just missed so much in the game. We should go back through it and figure out each individual section. I have never been puzzle heavy. as far as gamers go. And so I had no idea that everything in the entire game mattered. You know, you see so many of these rooms so many times.
Yeah, you kind of start to ignore parts of it.
Oh, 100%. You're like, I know what's important. And then 20, 30 hours in, you go, wait a second. All of those things mattered?
Yeah, which is a cool twist that it throws on you pretty often.
It is. Somehow they've created a game that surprisingly you could put at least 50 hours into, I imagine. Probably easily.
Especially if you want to, like, get most of the trophies, get, like, not just get the ending, like, get it with, like, a pure run where, like, you open all the doors and you've seen most of the things. Because I think there is, like, kind of a way to almost shortcut it.
Right.
Which is even itself very difficult to figure out. But.
Yeah, right before I beat it the first time, I was unlocking rooms I had never seen. I'm like, wait a second. I just beat the game, but we just got to all these new rooms that we haven't dived into at all.
Yeah.
It really is super deep, super, super good. Highly recommend if you're going to play this, go in with a pen and paper and just jot everything.
Everything down. Yep. Yeah, you really have to. Just watching this person go through the first few rooms and seeing, like, the little, like, things they're obviously skipping because they don't know that they're important yet. I'm just like, oh man, game is so many layers deep. It's so cool. I'm really excited for what this team does next. Obviously, that'll be years away probably, but definitely my game of the year so far is Blueprints. I think it's excellent. So I'm playing that, and then I think that's probably it for me, but you've been playing a couple other things on stream after you finished Blueprints, right?
Yeah, and had I not beat The Last of Us 2 last week?
No, I think you did. I think I just forgot to take that link off. So
okay.
We can probably...
Well, that game's amazing. Everyone should play it.
We'll probably move on from that one.
The new game, which, for anybody listening, you're probably shocked by this. I just spent my first 2 days ever playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I know the game's been out for a while.
Yeah, I remember buying it on launch day. And I think it came out in like October or November of 2018. So it's been a long time. The game's quite a bit like better now, you know, had a lot of patches and stuff, but it was still excellent at launch. So I think it's, I won't steal you. I'll let you talk about it in just a second. But I do think it's probably like the prettiest and like most complete, like as far as like realism is concerned, like open world I've ever seen. Like when you're like riding your horse like around, it looks like actual forests and trails, and like the backdrop looks like it could have been like a photograph. Like it's incredible. Like the day-night cycle, and
it really is. And I imagine I've only got 15 hours in it maybe at this point, but as I'm riding around on a horse, I think I'm having a different experience than a lot of other people who have played it. NPCs are in different areas. Maybe some of them are the same. Like maybe there's that guy that's stuck under a horse right there for everybody.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that, they're moving around. It's randomness. You think you're going to one place, and then you're like, wait a second, I'm distracted by something. Let me do this instead. Now, what was I doing?
Yeah, got the Zelda vibe in that way.
Yes, very much so. I really didn't think I wanted to do like what you're seeing on the screen here, cook food and worry about weight management and feeding my horse and
hunting and fishing.
Yeah, all those things. I was like, that is exhausting. But honestly, it's been the most beautiful part of the game because there's so much variety. You don't have to be doing the same thing almost ever.
Yeah, and if there's one part you don't like if you didn't like the fishing, you could just ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to ever do it again.
It's super good. It's super pretty. I'm playing a PS4 version, and I think that's about all there is.
Yeah, I don't think there's a native PS5 version, but I do think it runs really well on the PlayStation 5.
It does, yeah. It feels super good. But once again, we were talking about this earlier. I think that the weakness to this game and Tears of the Kingdom is its combat. I don't think it's the main focus of the game.
Yeah, and I think this one, again, trying for realism is like, okay, they're using guns from 150 years ago. Like, people are missing all over the place. And so I think they just kind of leaned into that. Like, okay, you're going to miss a lot. Especially you like tried to make it realistic and took off the auto aim and like snap to target.
We did. We took it all off. It's all free aim for us, and it's made it very brutal.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what this runs in. I assume 60 FPS.
I'm not sure.
But man, it is hard to aim. for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I do like the like bullet time mode you get though, where you can kind of like, I think you have to get headshots maybe to like build up that mode or something, and then once you get it, you can like shoot 5 of them really fast or something. It's pretty fun. It's an excellent game. I think it's one of the best stories ever, like in a game. Like Arthur and what's his name, Dutch,
Yes.
and Micah, and some of those main characters, man, are so good. You'll really, really like them by the end. Mostly because the game is so stinking long that, like, by the time you're done, you will have been playing the game for 80 hours, and you're like, man, I really like Arthur after 80 hours. And just watching them at each chapter of the game, which I think you probably noticed this, but at each chapter, basically, the camp moves somewhere else, right? Like in the beginning, you were in the snowy part, then you were in like the horseshoe camp, and now you've moved again to like this one with the 2 competing like southern families, the Braithwaites and the Greys or whatever. And along that journey at like each stop, the group like slowly starts to have differences of opinions, and like, are you always just going to blindly follow Dutch? Like, it's good. It's very good. And
yeah, I've enjoyed it.
This chapter you're in, chapter 3, kind of the climax to chapter 3 is maybe like the most famous part from the game. Maybe. It's an awesome scene. So
amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, so much good to say about the game.
Yeah.
It's extremely immersive. There's some areas I just want to stay in.
Yeah.
You know, you go from snowy mountain to foggy woods to bars and shops and day and night, and every area looks different, and there's legendary areas with unique animals. Someone told me there's an alligator in this game, and panthers. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
It's doing more than I knew.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that's why it's one of those like evergreen games on Twitch that people just love watching. Like, it always has thousands of viewers, just like Zelda does, because it's so big. People have played it for like hundreds of hours, and they're like, oh, well, if I watch this streamer, I might be able to like help them find the legendary elk or, you know, whatever, which is like just 1/100th of the game, but it's like a very specific path you have to go down to get there. And so everyone kind of has a different experience playing it. Yeah, very cool. I'm glad you're playing that.
Me too. I was hesitant, but
yeah. Cool. Devin, well, I've been so busy. I haven't been able to play any board games this. Oh, no, sorry. Yes, I have. What am I talking about?
Whoa, he did. Whoa.
I do this youth group in my neighborhood for my church, and I hosted a game night for them last night, actually. So it was so recent, I forgot. And so we played 4 games last night in groups of 4 and just kind of rotated. So I won't talk about any of them very long, but we played Draftosaurus, which is that simple one where you take the little dinosaur meeples, put one on your board, kind of like Yahtzee, and then you pass the rest of them, and then you'll get 5, you know, and by the end of the game, you will put 12 dino meeples down in your dinosaur park somewhere. Pretty fun. We played Clask, one that's kind of like air hockey with the magnets.
Right.
Excellent 2-player game. I think that's like one of the very best like dexterity games. Plays in 5 minutes. So good. No Thanks. Really good auction game where you're auctioning to not take points. And what was the 4th one? Oh, and Drop It, where you drop the shapes in that little middle thing and don't want to touch shapes of the same shape or same color. Fun little simple games that you can play with, 12 to 15-year-olds. So there's 20 of us in there. It was a little bonkers, but did play those 4 games. So other than that, though, I didn't get to play like a big strategy game this week, which is a bit of a bummer. But
nor did I.
As far as things we're excited about, there's really one game that I'm pumped to play right now. I think I'm going to buy it tonight. It comes out tonight at 1 a.m. So I'll play it tomorrow. But as of this moment, it's the highest rated game of the year. It's like got a 92 on OpenCritic, I think, and Blueprints has fallen just a tiny bit to an 89. I think there was maybe one other game that's right around 90 as well. But it's Clair Obscure Expedition 33. And it looks very odd. It's a Japanese role-playing game. I don't know, like in spirit, I don't know if it was made by a Japanese team, but But like with very big production values, big actors. The guy that plays the main character is Charlie Cox, who does Daredevil in the Marvel Daredevil series. And I don't know if they technically did, but it looks like they got Robert Pattinson's likeness, right? Doesn't that look?
Oh, 100%.
If that's not Robert Pattinson, and they didn't pay him for his likeness, I imagine he would sue them because it's so close, right?
It's very close, yeah.
And there's a couple other big actors in it too, whose names are escaping me at the moment. But so it's supposed to have great voice acting, like a very pretty, fantastical world. Kind of the plot is that every year there's this like demon lady who controls the world, and she puts a number on this big tree, and at the end of that year, everyone that is the age of that number will die. And so anyone that is the age of that tree, and this, I think in the game it's 33, hence the name like Expedition 33, generally goes on like an expedition to try and kill this, I think they call her like the Paintress or something, so that they won't die at the end of the year. It's kind of the goal. It's a turn-based game, which I don't usually like, but it has active elements on both sides. Like when you're doing an attack, it will have like time-based cues in order for you to do your attack better, like deal more damage. And on defense, you can do time-based cues to dodge and parry their attacks as well. So I think that little bit of activeness will hopefully help me to like it. It's supposed to be great, kind of resounding great reviews everywhere. And so I was like, I probably can't ignore this game. So that's the one I'm really excited about. Trying tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I will have spent $50 on a turn-based game I don't like, but hey, it happens. I'll write it off of my taxes and then whatever. Devin, I think you might try it as well.
I will be doing that.
Have you seen anything else about it other than these couple trailers, though?
Nope, that was the first thing I've seen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm excited. It is on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, I don't, so I got it on PlayStation, but if you have Game Pass, definitely try it out for free. So I'm excited about that one. I think the other big game this week is Forza Horizon comes to PlayStation this week, which was kind of a big deal because it's, an Xbox game for basically forever. And then I've been looking through PlayStation's new sale. They have a new sale almost every week, don't they? I say it all the time.
It seems like it, yeah.
And Alan Wake 2 is on a pretty good half off. And I'm like, $30? That might be time.
It may be.
So we'll see. I have $75 in my PlayStation Network wallet, and if you can't tell, it's burning a hole in it.
Oh, yeah. It's a weight on your shoulders.
Yeah. Need to spend it now. But I think those are the two things I'm most excited for this week, other than finishing Blueprints, hopefully. So, I don't know, Devin, anything other than those that I just stole all the time talking about?
No, I mean, Oblivion Remake, if I ever get the chance, potentially would play that. I don't think I played the original, I'll be honest, but it's getting a lot of hype as well. Everyone is making the most ridiculous looking characters I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're bad.
Oh, they're so bad. And so good.
Yeah. Yeah, very funny. Yep. We'll talk about that one in just a second. In fact, I think I forgot to put a link for it in the document, so we'll just hop right into the
News Mini-Nuke,
and we'll start right with that one, so that I don't forget. But yeah, there were leaks for the last few weeks about the Oblivion remake. I think we talked about them for a couple of weeks in a row, and then Monday morning, I think it was Monday, they released like a little teaser and said, "Hey, we're gonna have a where is it? Maybe I didn't like the tweet. I could have sworn I did. We're gonna have like a surprise video tomorrow," and it was obviously Oblivion remake, and they dropped it that day, which was kind of cool. Whereas it might have been announced to come out in July or something, but I think the immediacy of the drop has helped it be more successful for sure.
I think that's such a cool, fun strategy.
Yeah, it kind of stinks that it had leaked, because it would have been really cool if like it hadn't leaked and then they did that.
How do you keep everything from leaking? Everything leaks.
I know, everything does leak. I'm not sure. But anyways, if you liked The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion on Xbox 360 back in the day, then this is a remaster of that game. I think it plays very much the same, but they've like cleaned up the resolution. It runs better. Hopefully it's a little bit smoother to play, because since this one's even older than Skyrim, which I know you played pretty recently, and you can tell it's came out 14 years ago. Since I never got hugely into the Elder Scrolls, I don't know that I'll go back to this one right now, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
I hope they do the same thing to like Morrowind, the third one, because that's the one I've played the most of. And even that one I've probably only played 7 hours or something. Anyway, so that was the first big news of the week. Everyone was really pumped about that one. Then just this morning, which was kind of a surprise, I think, to everyone, PlayStation just posted this on the PlayStation blog. Ghost of Yotei comes to PlayStation 5 on October 2nd. And they released a new trailer and some new details about the game. Basically, in a nutshell, you can watch the trailer on your own time, but the main character's name, I think, is Atsu, and 16 years prior to when the game starts, this group of bad people called what are they called? The Onryo's List, or also known as the Yotai Six. They killed Atsu's parents, took everything from her, so she's kind of hunting down those 6 people: the snake, the Oni, the Kitsune, the spider, the dragon, and Lord Sato. They do say it's not so simple as just a story of revenge, that it kind of branches off from that point, but that is kind of the launching point. And the trailer is absolutely beautiful. The game looks awesome. So I'm excited about that one. I'm most surprised that they just randomly just threw this October 2nd date out, because basically everyone is kind of afraid of Grand Theft Auto 6 right now. And so no one is announcing release dates, because that's correct. It should be that. Because they're afraid of, like, okay, if we announce our game for November and it happens to be the same week as Grand Theft Auto, like, that would be terrible. But Sony would definitely be one of the companies that would know what, like, Rockstar and Take-Two are thinking for when to release that. So I don't know. It makes me think that they're pretty confident that October 2nd has quite a bit of space from GTA 6. So anyways, that's one note I took from that. So that was the second thing I wanted to bring up. For the third one, Devin, don't worry about the link. I'm just going to pull it up on the website. This is very much just a David thing, but I have a little play date. It's this awesome little yellow device you're seeing on the screen right now, and it plays, think of like the most indie game you've ever played, and then think of something way more indie than that. And that's the kind of game that you can play on the play date. They're black and white, but they play really well. It just has a D-pad, 2 buttons, and then this crank on the side, and some games use the crank for gameplay. Cool thing they did with the system when it first came out was, if you bought one, I think on Kickstarter, I don't know if they still come with this promotion, but you got a season of games, and 2 of them would deliver to your device every week, like over Wi-Fi. So once a week, you would turn it on, and say, hey, you got 2 new games. Boop, boop. And then the next week, 2 more would deliver, and then 2 more. They've decided they're doing a second season, which makes me very happy. It's a little bit shorter of a season. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's 12 games instead of 24 this time. So it's 2 games a week for 6 weeks. But man, some of the games that they have, come on. Pretty sure I can do this here, can't I? Yeah, some of the developers they've announced for these games is crazy. Like Subset Games did Into the Breach and FTL, I think. That's like a big get, in my opinion. Those are excellent, excellent games. That one looks very, very cool. This Dig Dig Dino one looks really cool. A remake of Shadowgate, which I think came out in like the 80s. Or like the first 4 that they highlighted. And then they do give like the names of the other 8 here. But I kind of like that little fun little surprise. Like, you don't know what the next game is going to be next week. The 2 games, excuse me. You might know the names if you do look through the list, but what's it going to play like? What's it going to be? I think it's really cool. And I think it's $40, but for 12 games, that's really not bad because games on the Playdate are not. Some of them are like free, but some of them are like 15, $20. So kind of runs the whole gamut. Playdate's a very cool little device. I'm thinking of maybe filming some videos around this season of games when they launch and putting them on the YouTube channel just like once a week. Like, here are the 2 new games this week. Play each for 10 minutes just to give like an idea of what they're like. I think the Playdate doesn't get quite enough love, even though I think it sold like 50,000 units, so I'm sure they're doing great. Very cool little thing. All right, Devin, that's all the longer news this week. So now, are we in rapid fire?
We sure are. We're in rapid fire. We've got 4 items of news for you.
Cool.
And here's the first from none other than Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Basically just the announcement of an announcement. But
awesome.
Yeah. Join them on May 6th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And they're going to reveal whatever the Edge of Fate is and the upcoming year of Destiny 2. So
I thought they were done with DLCs.
They're going to continue to... They kind of gave a roadmap a few months ago that was like, we're going to do these little micro expansions. I don't know if micro is even the right word for the next few years for Destiny 2 as well. While the majority of the team has moved on to Bungie, to Marathon, excuse me.
To Marathon.
Where they have a little bit of the team still providing updates there. Destiny has such a cool sci-fi aesthetic.
Oh my goodness. I loved that game for so long.
You played that a ton. I wonder if there's a way you could look at the hours you played Destiny 2, because I don't think it's even like half maybe of your Rocket League hours, but you think it's over 1,000?
It might be, yeah. It was high, for sure.
Yeah, I think it was really high. So, anyways, if you're still playing Destiny 2, check that out on May 6th. All right, next up is just a little one. There's a new update to the PlayStation 5 software today, and they re-added all of those, they call them nostalgic UI options. So like the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 kind of themes that they added a while ago.
Right, yeah.
Since everyone liked them so much, they said, well, we're not going to get rid of them permanently like we had planned. Since everyone's liked them so much, we'll bring them back later in a software update. So that happened today. So there you go. That's
amazing.
Very, very small one there. And then I thought this was pretty cool. A couple years ago, a game called Sifu came out. That was like that karate game.
Brutally hard.
Very hard, but with like very cool like controls. Mm-hmm. Like once people are really good at it, they can like totally control that character and like they're very good. Their next game is this game called Rematch, which kind of looks like a on foot version of Rocket League, in my opinion. It's 3v3 soccer, if I remember correctly. You have like fancy moves you can do as you're trying to like score goals on a soccer pitch, and it's doing really well. It had its beta, and 118,000 concurrent players on day one of its beta. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So I hope that game does well for them. It looks really, really cool. Look up some videos for that one if you haven't seen it, because like in motion, it looks really awesome. So that's Rematch. All right, Monster Hunter Wilds is having their seasonal update for the spring. It's called the Festival of Accord Blossom Dance. You know, just that name that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
It starts on, what is this? April 22nd, so that was yesterday. And goes through May 6th. So you got like a week-ish from the time you hear this to get the special stuff. Looks like there's a free spring-themed content that will be available. A grand hub will be all springtimey. So they're releasing all kinds of new stuff for that game since it sold a bajillion copies. All right, Devin. I wanted to just really quickly do an update on tariffs. Everyone's favorite topic right now.
My goodness, I love talking about tariffs.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing too. No, not a political podcast. I'm not well versed in that kind of stuff. But it is crazy just watching the difference in like, you know, where we try to cover board games and video games. Video games are quite a bit less impacted by tariffs because most of video games nowadays are digital, right? Board games very much not that way. You know, they're analog usually, and almost always made in China because it, like, I've read a lot of articles about how it's almost impossible to make a game for even a similar, even a price. Like if you were able to make a game for $5 in China, being able to make it somewhere around America for $20 would be like the best deal you could get. So it's just like astronomically more expensive. And it's been kind of rough. A lot of stores have been shutting down, and game publishers are struggling trying to figure out what to do. And this is kind of sad news. I just wanted to highlight Boardlandia Online is shutting down. And I bought a lot of games from them. They're probably my second most used store after Game Nerds.
Wow.
So kind of crazy. Just wanted to shout that out, even though it's yeah, kind of sad. So pour one out for Boardlandia. They're a good place. And then this one is kind of video game related, but just on the same note. Anbernic is a company that makes those kind of emulation devices. Like I have had that little black one, if you remember, that was all metal. It had the Hall effect sticks, and I could play like PlayStation 1 through up through that, and I had like 10,000 games on it. They make really awesome devices that play retro games, and they have also shut down or suspended all orders shipping from China to the United States while they wait to see what happens. So
crazy.
It's affecting everybody in both industries and basically every industry right now. Tariffs be crazy. So I don't know. Kind of nuts. Devin, we're going to I keep saying your name really loudly.
That's okay. It reminds me of who I am.
Yeah. This is where we would usually have crowdfunding corner, but just continuing the tariff discussion. I feel like a lot of projects are kind of like not
waiting.
There are a few right now, a few like good expansions that look cool. One for War of the Whispers, one for Ashes, Ascendancy, Tricerion. I don't know how to pronounce that. And then a couple games that looked okay, but nothing that shouted like, hey, we have to cover this week. So we're actually going to forgo that section as well, but make sure to check those ones out if you like War of the Whispers or something like that. I really want to know what the time is right now, because what are we at? 46 minutes.
Hey,
crushing it.
Absolutely.
Since we got a second here, Devin, I'm going to have you open the window, if that's all right.
It's hot?
It's so hot in here. Are you hot?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think we're going to end the episode talking about The Last of Us. So I didn't really know what to have on the screen during this section. Do you have any votes for that? Maybe it's just our faces. And it's just a conversation about it that way. Yeah, that's probably good. Cool. Well, as you can see there, Devin has a plaid couch he sits on.
I do. This is a couch.
It looks kind of like a couch that would have been our grandmother's house maybe a long time ago. Really would have gone well next to that yellow one she had in the basement.
Mustard yellow?
Yeah, mustard yellow.
Oh, your shirt's doing crazy things on the camera.
It is with the pattern, yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're rambling at this point.
In a sci-fi shirt, but... Okay, how do I want to start this so that it's a clean, nice break? I think we'll just go with... I don't know. Devin! Saying your name loud again one more time. We're going to talk about The Last of Us for at least a few minutes here to end our episode of the Super Game Brothers weekly podcast. I guess just really quickly, do you like that game? That's a bad question. How much do you like the game? Is it like top 10 for you? Is it like...
I think it's got to be top 10 for me.
Yeah.
And I like unique... I wouldn't say I like unique games, but my top 5 list is very odd. You got Bloodborne up there, maybe Destiny 2. Resident Evil franchise, absolutely. Horror games. What else have I played? Lies of P. Very Souls-like games.
Yeah.
This
kind of gameplay heavy.
Yeah, this is different. There's a lot of story, and the story's great. Once again, they made the game intentionally hard and spooky and awesome. There's a lot of money that's gone into this game, obviously.
Yeah, you can tell like just the amount of time they spend on the crazy technology that they have in the like the upgrade system with the benches and like um all of the gore.
All of the
It's
gore.
like tried to be like fairly accurate as well, so it's pretty nuts. I agree. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games ever. My list is also weird. Like I'd have Spelunky in there and probably Rocket League as well. Because I am mostly like a gameplay focused gamer as well. I like independent games like, Enter the Gungeon that just play really well. There's no
Right.
story in Enter the Gungeon really. I think there technically is, but as far as like story based games, well, I don't even know if you'd call it story based, where story is a big factor, then I think The Last of Us is my favorite, probably. Just, I mean, it's up there with like, Red Dead 2, and I think it's quite a bit above like even God of War and God of War Ragnarok, which I really like as well.
I strongly agree with that.
Yeah. And I think it's because it kind of has like the HBO quality and that like, hey, we're not going to pull any punches. Like we're going to make this brutal and we're going to make you ask yourself tough questions by putting our characters in very precarious scenarios. It's going to be rough to watch at times, and it'll like make you have some introspection and thinking of like, man, I have no idea what I would do in that situation, and it kind of takes you to like the extremes of humanity. Kind of like, okay, if I really cared about somebody, what would I do for them in these crazy circumstances? Or if I really hated somebody, what would I do in these circumstances? And it's been really fun to watch the show again with my wife. We watched the first season a couple weeks ago, again in preparation for season 2, and she absolutely loves it, which is very gratifying and cool to me because I don't know. I tried to get her into the game back in 2013 when it came out.
Yeah,
but there's just that's a bit of a barrier for people that don't play a lot of games, like to jump in that way. So, anyways, that was kind of a long-winded answer. I think it's the highest of quality that video games have been to this point. Love it. So today, after that kind of long intro, we're just going to talk about the first 2 episodes of season 2 of HBO show, and just generally kind of what we think about it, what we like about the changes that they made, and yeah, that kind of stuff. So what are your thoughts kind of on the show at the first season? Did you enjoy the first season of the show?
I did a lot. I should go back and rewatch it, to be honest, to remember more. But from what I remember most was every time that there was an episode, I left going, I can't wait till the next one.
Yeah.
This was, once again, like the game, extremely high quality.
Yeah.
And exciting, and yes, very good. That's my thoughts.
I agree. And it made me like appreciate and hate the way that HBO releases their episodes, which is weekly. They don't release it in a batch like Netflix does to binge or whatever, because you just want to watch the next one immediately.
Oh my goodness. I'm always tempted to just wait 8 weeks.
I know.
Except I'll see everything on social media.
Yep, that's the hard part. It would definitely be spoiled.
They lock you in week after week.
I think the first season's also excellent. It's hard. I can't tell if this is just the video game part of David like trying to defend it. I do think the games are both better than the seasons of the show. I'm not sure if it's just the amount of time you have. Like with the game, you've got a bit more time. Like the second game is like 30 hours long, and the first game is like, I don't know, 15 to 20. And the first season has 9 episodes that are like 45 minutes on average, probably. And the second season is only going to have 7, but it doesn't cover the whole story. So I think the time helps. And yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's probably just a little bit of like protectionism of the game. There is one change. They made quite a few changes. Like, some like, characters like look slightly different or a different race or whatever, and that's totally fine. I don't really even care about that at all. The one change that I always did think was weird, though, and I'm very curious to see how they'll handle it in season 2. I guess as we start here to talk more about in-depth things, we should obviously say we're going to spoil both the game and the episodes.
Oh, we're going all in. We're just going open.
Okay. Yeah. So these conversations won't be super long, just kind of like little fun little things about what we thought, but spoilers galore. So here's your warning. In the first season of the HBO show, they do change how the virus spreads a little bit, in that they show like the fibers, like the fibrous tissue is like coming out of the zombies' mouths a bit in the show, whereas in the game, it's primarily spores in the air. Like when you go into a location that has spores in the game, they're always putting those gas masks on to protect themselves from breathing in the spores. They talked about this in the first season. Well, not in the show, but like the creators said, like, we didn't want to have gas masks on the people's faces for a lot of the season. So that's like one reason. And so that was one reason for the change. And we thought this idea of them all being connected through these fibers, and if like one of them sees you, it can like alert through the fibers in the ground, like big masses of them, which we saw a bit even in episode 2 this week.
Yeah.
So I think it's a cool change. There is one thing that bugs me about it. A very important moment to me in the second season, or the second game, is when Abby goes with Dina, and I think they're on their way to Seattle. Try and find Abby.
Ellie goes with Dina.
Did I say Abby?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like, I don't remember.
Yeah, Abby and Dina are BFFs. No, Ellie and Dina, and they have to go like through this building, and there are spores, and so they have their gas masks on, and Ellie's gets broken. It has like a big crack or like break in it. And at that point, Ellie hasn't told Abby that she's immune. And so in that moment, Dina says, like, Abby, your mask, hurry, take mine, we'll share, and is about to take hers off, which probably would have ended up killing her. And so Ellie has to like hurry and convince her that she's immune on the spot while there are spores like flying everywhere. That's like an important scene. And so I hope that they can do something as impactful with the fibrous tissue, but I don't know how they will.
Interesting.
So that one has always bugged me a little bit. Even though I don't hate the change, I don't think I would want them to keep everything exactly the same, or else then I should just play the game. So I like the changes they've generally made, but that one I've always been like, what are they going to do? And that's probably next week's episode, or Sunday's episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see, maybe even on Sunday.
Before we dive into each episode, I have one question for you.
Okay. Oh.
You mentioned you like the games more. Do you think you would like the games more if the show had come out first?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And actually one that it's a great question.
Thanks.
So on point. There's, even with the same developer, Naughty Dog, they made Uncharted 2, which was like a revolution at the time. Like, wow, we didn't realize going from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 was like a huge jump, like one game of the year. People loved it. And then Uncharted 3 came out. It's also excellent. I might like it slightly more. But it didn't do quite as well. And Naughty Dog and even Neil Druckmann, who wrote The Last of Us and is directing it with Craig Mazin for HBO, said that we think Uncharted 3, people would have generally liked it better if it came out before number 2. Oh. And so you kind of do have that bias towards the thing that is already out.
You do, yeah. That's just how it is.
Yep, it is. And so I think you're probably right. I think that's a big part of why I like the game better. I do just think, like, when you're playing it and kind of doing those crazy acts of violence yourself, like, it hits a little bit harder. But it does hit hard in the TV show too. So I don't know.
It does, yeah. And people complain about the character's appearance being different, but if season 2 of the show would have come out first and we've seen who's playing Abby, and then you go and play the game and you get this jacked chick, you'd be like, I don't like this jacked chick.
Exactly. If it went the other direction,
yes,
you'd be mad at that one.
We just like to complain. You know, it's human nature.
Yeah, and that's why I generally try to give them the benefit of the doubt with changes. And we'll get to that's probably one of the first things I wanted to just talk about here.
Oh, right, yeah.
With the first episode, I think it followed pretty closely, like the intro to part 2, the game. I was actually surprised at how closely it followed it. I thought they were going to change the structure pretty drastically to make Joel's death be like I think we talked about this last week, at the end of the season or at some different time, because that was very shocking in the game for them to kill him like in the first hour and a half, and then you've got 28 hours of playing with him dead. I didn't think they would dare to do it. And they don't do it in the first episode, but they almost do it with the same timeline. So I was kind of surprised.
I also was surprised to take such a big, loved actor out of the show that early on in your second season, because so many people are attached to him. They love him so much. You almost want to draw that out. Yeah. So that he's acting in more and more and more episodes because of the connection you have to.
Yep. They'll have him in quite a few more flashbacks, but you're right. And while we're here, I guess it's probably just a good time to talk about it. That was my wife hasn't played the second game, and I've tried really hard not to tell her anything about it. So she didn't know.
Oh boy, how'd this go?
That it was coming. And we're a little picky with like content we watch sometimes. We've actually not watched Game of Thrones, which I know is pretty well known for this. Like they'll kill anyone, like even characters that you really love. Like I think Ned Stark is the guy played by Sean Bean, if I remember correctly. Sean Bean's character, the main character of the first season, they kill him at the end of the first season. So they kill everybody all the time. So anybody that's watched like HBO shows, I think, kind of knows that. But having not watched that, and Lacey knowing him and Ellie are the two main characters, even at the point when he is laying on the ground looking like mashed potatoes of a human,
she wouldn't believe it.
She didn't think she thought Ellie was about there to save him.
Yeah.
Even, and so in that moment when Abby stabs him, she was like, wait, what? They're not going to kill Joel. And so I think it probably was really shocking for a lot of people.
I didn't like watching that. It weirded me out.
It's brutal. I can't decide which way is more brutal. In the game, obviously, she does it differently with the golf club. But they kind of move the camera just barely outside of like the impact zone where she hits him in the head. Whereas in the show, they didn't. And I think it's because they wanted that scene of like Bella Ramsey crawling over to him and kind of laying there with him for a second. Which, I mean, we kind of jumped right there to the
we sure
biggest
did.
moment.
We sure did.
But anyways, I think my point there was, what was my point there? What were we talking about? The changes, and then
they'll kill off anybody.
And
the end.
And the end, yeah. So we kind of talked about that. We'll loop back around to that in a minute. But all right, going back, I don't know that we have to talk about an episode at a time, but any changes like throughout the first couple episodes that you did like, or any that you didn't like? The one, I think I liked most of the changes. Joel looks older in the show, I thought, than in the game. It didn't come across quite as old in the game for some reason. He has like the glasses on the tip of his nose when he's doing the architecture stuff. I was like, oh wow, he looks like an old man there. Which that wasn't much of a change. He seems to like be buddy with Dina a little bit. They watch movies and stuff. So it's cool to see some different context there on some of those things. He's obviously in therapy with I forget her name. The mom from Schitt's Creek and Home Alone and Beetlejuice, who I love.
Mrs. McAllister.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. Is that her name? I think. Yeah, Mrs.
I have
McAllister.
no idea.
I think that's her name. I love her, so I'm totally happy with her being in the show.
Yeah, he looks old. Ellie will always look the same. It seems like
that. A lot of people have given her crap for that. But I'm like, again, she was already an adult playing a teenager in the first season. she didn't grow up anymore in the last couple years between when they filmed, so I try not to hold that against her. I would have liked, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't bother me either. Just an
Yeah.
observation.
Yeah, and that's one a lot of people have. People can't be happy with anything. Like, man, she's an actress who is not a video game character that in a fake story. So obviously she didn't grow up like the video game character in the fake story did.
Yeah.
So
I like a lot of the similarities, like Abby crawling under the fence as it's falling
that was an
down.
intense scene, yeah.
Very similar to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Almost identical, to be honest.
Yeah.
She comes around the corner and finally like gets caught, and Joel's
Joel
there to
saves her. Yeah.
exactly. The dancing section of the game where Ellie chews out.
Yeah, that scene was almost shot for shot identical, which I think was important because that's a very like famous scene with like the lights, everything. They almost say the exact same dialogue too. Really,
I dislike Ellie in that moment. Drives me nuts. I just feel so bad for him.
I know,
because he loves her so much.
Yep.
And she like publicly just like humiliates him after he was trying to defend her. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a hard moment where she's still dealing with him finally like kind of telling her the truth. And luckily we'll see some more flashbacks that'll kind of make that be a little less dark. But yeah, that's a tough part. Yeah, I don't know that there's a ton more I wanted to hit on here. In the second episode, one of the big changes is they made this big horde like hit Jackson at the same time that all this stuff happens with Joel and Abby.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, it kind of distracts from that one event, from Joel's death and Abby's group being there. Just kind of perfectly happens at the same time. So for like at the beginning I was like, I don't know if I like that. But thinking about it some more, I'm like, well, it does kind of capture some more of like the zombie like fights that you would have had if you were playing the game. And so tonally, I think it kind of gets you to the same point anyways, even though this big like battle doesn't happen at the gates of the city like it does there.
I had one thought when the zombie horde is mobbing towards Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's a character that says, is it real people or infected? And someone says it's infected. That's who's running towards our city. And in my mind, I was like, oh, they're probably way less scared now because infected are dumb and they're not that intense. What I thought was cool about that scene is it showed how intense the infected are. They were almost bundling together like World War Z.
Yeah, almost. Just
going up the wall, having so much of an impact on this door and this mass amount of them, and they're not slow.
Yeah, and the bloater just kind of smashes through.
In the game, you don't really fight that many at a time.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the impact they had to just bust right into Jackson and just start taking people out.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, okay, they are a threat.
Yeah. They've definitely tried to make them seem smarter in the first couple episodes by introducing the stalkers, which they do in the game too. But and then with this part where like the bloater's like deciding like which person to attack, like kind of like based on who's like either being the loudest or whatever, because Tommy like purposely yells at it to distract it or whatever. So yeah, it does seem like they're leaning into that a bit more with the fibers and like, okay, they are kind of smart and interconnected and they attack together and can kind of think together through these like fibers, and they do seem scarier in that way. So it is cool in a TV show, again, where you're not playing for it to feel like the stakes have been raised. They feel more dangerous than they did last season.
To me, they feel much more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if that was a group of 300 people with weapons, that would have seemed way scarier before they started breaking in.
Yeah.
It'd have been like, how are we going to defend this? And they got up on their wall and they're all shooting at the same time. And it's like, you can take a bunch out, but there's so many and they're so aggressive that even this barrier we've built just stood no chance. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was shocked by it.
It was. And I like since they went this slightly different path, I really like how well they thought it out. Like, okay, these people would have had great preparations. They knew like to get the women and children down into safer places.
Hide on the roofs.
and then kind of the big wall that they have with those little tracks that they push down to push the barrels of gasoline down. It's like a cool, like they've planned for this a bit, which was cool to see. So even though it was a change from the game, I didn't have a problem with it at all. What do you think about Tommy's one-on-one fight with the bloater and the flamethrower?
Oh man, I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
It referred back to the game. It's like, okay, he's out of every ammo type. Let me switch to the worst gun in the game, the flamethrower.
Yeah.
And with my last piece of fuel, hope that he takes burning tick damage before he gets to me.
Right, because that's like literally what happened. He's like walking over to him and dies before he gets him.
So I liked it well enough.
Yeah, I did too. It was fine. They wanted their big action sequence, and for this episode to kind of be like lots of craziness and death, and then obviously Joel's thing, which is another thing. So yeah, I liked it as well. I thought for a second they might kill Tommy or Maria. She seemed really in trouble for a second as well there too, but they both survived, which was kind of crazy. That was another big change they did. In the game, Joel is out with Tommy when he finds Abby. And Ellie is with Dina. In the show, Ellie's with, what's his name? There's so many characters, I forgot his name. The one that was dating Dina before Ellie started dating.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
His name is escaping me. But yeah, then Dina's with Joel when they find Ellie. And this is another thing I'm excited to see how they cover it next episode, because after Abby kills Joel, Tommy was the one that was there. And even though they like knock him out, like he's the one that wakes up to Joel being dead with Ellie there too.
And they drag him back behind the horse. Or wait, that's the show. That's
the show, yeah. It kind of blends together. But then after a few days, Ellie and Tommy have buried Joel, and they decide they're going to leave the next morning, and Tommy leaves without her first and goes to Seattle alone. And tries to get revenge kind of first by himself. And that's like a very important part of season 2, is like Tommy being, like Ellie and Dina are trying to find Tommy out there so that they can kind of work together, because he's already been there. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Tommy, is he still going to leave first? Dina was there. That kind of helps with Dina and Ellie's relationship probably a bit, because they both like went through this really hard thing right there together, whereas she wasn't there in the game. So I was intrigued by that choice. Maybe it seemed like they wanted Tommy back at the camp to like be in charge of like the fight at the gate and with the flamethrower killing the bloater. And maybe that's the only reason why maybe when they get to camp, Tommy will have the same reaction and leave anyways. But I did think that was interesting that they changed that. How do you like Abby so far?
Big fan.
Yeah.
Really am. I've seen the actress in many other things.
Okay, I haven't seen her in anything, but I know she was in a few other TV shows.
Yeah.
Yellow Jackets, maybe?
Ooh.
Maybe I'm mixing it up.
I don't know if she's in Yellow Jackets. Anyways.
She's in some other stuff. Yeah.
She's good. I think she's good at acting. Doesn't bother me that she's not massive.
No, me neither at all.
Yeah, I really like her. And on that same note, I really like the actress for Dina as well.
Yeah, she's great. She has I like the actress that played Dina in the game too, but I do feel like Dina in the show is like the more energetic and like the one that draws like the audience's attention more than even Ellie does, kind of. She's like the more engaging one. Kind of, in like the happy way. Ellie's engaging in like the dark and revengeful way. But so yeah, I don't know. I agree. I really like Abby. I don't think that her not being massively ripped has any negative bearing on the show. In fact, I think it's almost like cooler that like the rest of the group there is still afraid of her and like respects her, even though she's not huge.
It is crazy because in all of their heads, they're like, this is a dumb plan. Let's just go back to safety.
Right.
Like, it's over and done. Let's Stop
And-
chasing revenge.
And even until Owen tells her, hurry and finish it, like nobody has stood up to her, like at any point really there. So yeah, I think that she gets the same vibe across just by like emotionally being like the leader, not even though she's not like physically scary.
What'd you think about this?
Okay.
You really are attractive. Good for you. Or something. Or something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd line.
I've just seen videos about it, so I was just curious.
I think they added it because they wanted to like reinforce that they had only heard like some scarce details about
So this
Joel.
confirms they're killing the right person.
Yeah, that like, okay, he's in his 60s, his name is Joel.
The
He's
scar.
like he's got the scar. He's like a fairly attractive man. And so by putting all those pieces together and then him finally saying, yeah, I saw them in Salt Lake, like, okay, now we know we got the right person. So I think it kind of makes sense, but it was kind of a... She went on quite a diatribe there for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of it when I first watched it, but then I've seen all these videos and they're like, we should take this line out. I was like, oh, interesting.
That is hard. Any one line in like any piece of fiction, if you just look at it by itself, can seem weird.
Yeah, or cringy.
Right. But in the context of the scene, I thought I was like, I didn't think anything too weird about it. I was like, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought she acted that scene really well. It's obviously a very sad and brutal scene. It'll be interesting to see how she acts the rest of Abby's like emotional scenes, because she has many more with all of her friends, you know, deaths, and then with Lev and Yara, and then with the Rattlers and almost like starving and dying there, which obviously won't be handled in this season. But so hopefully she seems like she has the acting chops to handle all of those things so far. But so yeah, I don't know. First 2 episodes in, I feel like they're crushing it again.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just see too many shows that don't have this budget and this much depth.
Yeah.
Where you can really notice, whoa, this is something special, whether it's perfect or not.
And whether it's, you know, very dark and violent. And some people won't like that. They'll want a story that's a little more happy, has a cleaner ending.
Yeah, I don't think our mom would like this that much.
Oh, no, definitely not. But it, again, it's kind of gratifying to me to even my wife, who does love a clean, happy ending and a love story, like she is thoroughly engrossed, and like this is the show that she wants to watch right now. And like she has wanted to talk about the episode and like, did they really kill Joel? Like all week. Like so it's just gripping. Like it really is. So I don't know that I have much else to talk about. I think the first 2 episodes are excellent. 2 great episodes of TV. Any other highlights you wanted to hit, Devin, as we close here?
No, we touched most of it. I do have one question though about your wife and her thoughts on the show.
Okay.
Did you give her enough information to confirm to her that he is gone, or does she still have hope?
Oh no, I confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking she might be going into episode 3 going,
he's coming back.
There's a chance.
I wonder how many people do think that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But
they've seen so many shows where the impossible happens.
Right, or they bring somehow Palpatine returned.
I missed that guy.
So yeah, I'm glad they're not going to pull those shenanigans. But yep, I did tell her that, and again, she almost couldn't believe it. But I think it's just because people aren't used to shows that, you know, are so willing to be brutal and kill their main characters. So anyways, I think that's going to do it here for our discussion of the first 2 episodes of HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. Thanks so much for listening and watching. Please check out our Patreon to check out the rest of the coverage of the episodes this season. That's patreon.com/supergamebrothers. And you can get all kinds of perks there, including early access to those episodes and the other episodes of the podcast where we talk about board games and video games every single week. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the coverage for episode 3. All right, Devin, we did it. Even with that Last of Us conversation, we're at 1 hour 18. I don't know what's
going on. Might be our shortest episode yet.
Yeah. It really wasn't.
Which is probably still longer than most podcast episodes for
It's
many
true.
podcasts.
Yeah, a lot of them, even some that I listen to, are like very short. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. So we'll just get out of here, get out of your hair, and see you next week for episode 57. Until then, have a good one.